Howdy folks, thanks for tuning in. Hope y'all doing okay today. I just want to kind of give a quick introduction to Winter Where I Live story. So today is the first day where the potential for real winter weather is in the forecast in either the day or overnight hours. I'm currently heading into work and it's spitting snow. But I want to tell you one of the funnier stories that happened regarding winter weather and me working where I work. I've always had a very long commute to and from. The first place I lived, it was 55 miles. The place I lived when I started working there, I was 55 miles away, and now I'm like 62, 63 miles away from work one way. So I've always had a rather long commute, and I've called in for a lot of reasons over the years. Weather's never been one of them. There was one time I hadn't been there quite a year, and when I was heading home, I was listening to the weather, and they were talking about some, pretty severe winter stuff heading our way. Get into the house and it's starting to snow. The car I drove at the time was rear-wheel drive and a handful in winter weather. So I decide I'm going to take the truck, and I had to get one or two little things done before I left. It needed new tires. I had bought them, I just hadn't put them on yet, so I woke up a little early the next day, go and get my tires mounted, and everything's going bananas. Businesses are closing early, there's snow on the streets, people are losing their minds. Now, one of the things you got to understand about where I live specifically in the country is occasionally it snows enough to matter, but not enough for people to get good at handling it. When I was a kid and learning to drive, my mother said, I'm going to teach you how to drive in the snow. So she took me to a local high school on a snow day, and I learned how to control and get back a car that had started sliding in the snow. I learned, how much longer your stopping distances are by driving on the snow. I learned what it felt like when the car started stepping out of control. I learned how to feel it and get it back, or how to feel it and walk around and control the skid, not necessarily get it back, but control the skid. All in just a matter of, and I say control, I mean, for a 16-and-a-half-year-old kid that just got his driver's license 2 months before. But I learned a lot that one day driving in the snow, just feeling it. Well, anyway, going back to this day, I go get these tires put on my truck. My old ones were just about race slick, so I wanted to get every mile out of them I could, and I did. I messaged my buddies that I carpooled with at the time, said, hey, I got the truck, got good tires on it, we can go to work. If y'all want to go to work, I'll drive. Nope, we're not going in. Okay. So I jump in the truck, head to work. It's four-wheel drive. I didn't put it in four-wheel drive at all. I was moving slow. The only time I spun tires on this trip, I was heading towards the interstate, and one of the lights was red. The street was covered in snow. At this point, there was about 8 inches in my driveway, and it had been snowing all day and was still snowing. get up to this red light and it's red. Well, I'm slowing down nice and easy and it turns green, so I tip back into the accelerator nice and easy, and the truck downshifted. It's an automatic, and it spun tires just a little bit right when it downshifted. If it wouldn't have been for that, I would have never spun tires at all. The interstates weren't too bad. They were a little slippery, so I was taking it slow, but I got there on time and everything, get up to work, and there's nobody there. Nobody. You gotta understand, when you deal with a shift attendance of north of 2,000, nobody's a relative term. You can have 400 people show up to work, and that's nothing. I don't know what the attendance was for the day, but I do know that on my team, all but like 1 or 2 people showed up. On my line, a good percentage of the rest of them were out. There were a few people that showed up. In the plant, there weren't enough people that showed up to start the chassis lines, which that's the important thing. That's where all the finished components come together and form a truck. So like they'll build the body, the frame, the engine, the bed, the interior, and then all these different components merge together to form what actually resembles a truck. There weren't enough people that showed up to start that line. So we worked for maybe 30 minutes at a snail's pace. We stopped, waiting on the rest of the building to get moving. They shuffled manpower from other areas of the building that weren't necessarily critical at that moment to make things work. And 2 hours later, they told us to go home. There was not enough people there to actually start the plant. And the thing that was funny is how many people that lived really close to the building ended up not being there. I'll give you another funny winter weather story. This was after I'd moved a little further out. I was out in the boonies. Drove home from work and then drove back into work the next day. And I knew there was going to be winter weather. I took the truck. And the first and last 20 miles of my drive coming into work and then coming home, the roads hadn't been touched. So it was snow and ice. They hadn't been plowed or salted. I took a picture of that, showed it to my supervisor. I'm like, next time you think about giving me a hard time for being late, this was the first 20 miles of my drive today, but I'm here. So, and I've been late a handful of times to work. I think I can count it on one hand in 6 years. So, but yeah, it's just interesting how much people panic when it snows here. I guarantee you won't be able to find a gallon of milk or a loaf of bread. Snowing right now. The roads are warm enough for it not to stick. According to the thermometer in my car, it's 34 degrees, so cooling down, and it's supposed to get cold as the night wears on, but cooling down, but not cold enough for it to accumulate, although the snow's gonna cool the road down, so I'm hoping I can get to work before they start freezing. Anyway, stay safe during winter weather. Give yourself an extra few minutes. I heard the best way to drive during winter weather explained one time. Drive like your grandmother's sitting next to you in her Sunday best. Text messages from the school. I apologize. I apologize about that. Text messages from the school due to inclement weather. And Bluetooth on my car has a really obnoxious notification. But anyway, best way to drive during bad winter weather: pretend your grandmother's in the passenger seat in her Sunday best, heading over to a family dinner with a big tower of Jell-O in her lap. So just easy all the way around. So I guess that's what I got for today, folks. I just think it's hilarious how much people lose their minds here when there is a tiny bit of winter weather. Y'all stay safe. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch y'all next time.